voices echoing darkness, where honesty dwells. Aaron drops knowledge, casting his spells. Feelings are fading, lost in the fray. If you can't handle it, step out of the way. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave it, your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave it, your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. So brace yourself tight, prepare for the quake. Aaron had to say it, the truth won't break. Yeah, the truth won't break.
I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. Yeah, I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't get it from me, you'd hear it from some newsman instead. I may cuss and yell, but I know what I say is right. You know what, I will fucking yell, but I know what I say is right. So long as the world be fucking shit up, I'ma yell into this mic. Left or right, don't matter, I will call you on your shit. I said left or right, don't fucking matter, I will call you on your shit. If you're the side that fucking up, the gorilla's gonna deal with it. Yeah, I had to say it, or else it would go unsaid. Yeah, I had to fucking say it, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't hear it yelled at the top of my lungs, you got fed a crock of shit instead.
The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen close or just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast airways, feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz, Shane, Hefe, Devlin, El Morte, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Rap Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George Fonso, the World of Blaze Podcast, to Josh in New Hampshire, to Ken, to Bill from Clockham Craft Coffee, and to Lisa, our most recent subscriber. Thank you guys for the continued support. It means the world to me. You are the reasons I keep doing this. You are the sunshine of my life. You are the wind beneath my wings. You are the burrito in my burps. I don't know. I ran out of creativity. So anyway, we're going to start out by addressing the elephant in the room, as it were. There was no episode last week. Yeah. Had a family emergency. I don't know how else to put it. We had a death in the family that literally happened about 20 minutes before the show was going to start. And that, unfortunately, has been holding up the bulk of my attention. And I know I say this every week. This might be an actually kind of abbreviated episode because of that. I haven't really been paying much attention to what's going on in the rest of the great big world. I've had my own shit I've been having to deal with. In as such, my content may be a little restricted. Actually, I'm going to take these things off because I don't need them anymore. I don't need to hear myself talking in my own freaking ears. Let's see, quick glance at the chat. Hello, Cody. Hello, Ken. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. So anyway, yeah, that was the big thing about last week. We had a family member pass away kind of suddenly, and I had to go deal with that as opposed to coming out here to talk to you guys. And there is a couple things that I was going to bring up last week that I want to address that we will touch on real quickly. Not so much current event stuff. The world has moved on. Enough stupidity has happened in the interim that we're just going to let the past be in the past. And I'm going to talk about the things that are currently on my mind. But I do want to announce one thing I kind of mentioned. If you follow me on any of the social media platforms, which you should be doing, I post some funny stuff. I make a lot of smart-ass comments. I'm more of a reply guy really on X. But I do have a bit of interaction there going on where I talk a lot of shit and I have a lot of fun, but that's not the point of this tangent. The point of this tangent is that I decided to do something a little engagement drive kind of thing, a little giveaway, a membership giveaway. I'm going to give away the last print I have from Mad K Studios from our good friend Ken Madden, friend of the show, wonderful human being, jazzy dancer. One of the more talented sons of bitches I know who can do a little bit of everything, and it just infuriates the shit out of me that he's that good at so many goddamn things. Extremely talented artist, musician, smart guy, good with cars, does all kinds of cool shit. Good guy. I mean, I'm blowing a lot of smoke up Ken's ass, and it's not just because he's in the chat. I'd say this even if he wasn't listening, because I honestly believe it. Good dude, and I have the last print that he gave me to do stuff with this podcast for is going to go to the winner of this little contest I've decided to do. Now, it's going to require a little work on your part. It's a scavenger hunt. I have posted a picture to the social medias. It's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on X. And then I posted an updated version of the picture because I was told by a couple of people that they couldn't make out all the detail in it. It's the best picture I got. It's the best I could do. You got to kind of zoom in if you want to pick everything up. But there is a picture. It's of my recording area, the war room, the studio, whatever you want to call it. And it's getting more war room-like every day. I'm making changes. My equipment set has changed a little bit. My stuff has done. And in that picture of my recording area, where I do the bulk of my work and sitting and ranting and doing my day job and doing my night job and doing my bitching and moaning and complaining, and this is my window on the world, there are assorted things scattered throughout the picture that directly reference other shows. They are all either podcasts or YouTube shows or whatever that I have made alluded to over the course of this show. It's all there. I mean, a couple of them are pretty obvious. A couple of them you're gonna have to look a little closer to get the details because I can only get so much detail in the picture. But the stuff is there. There are 8 shows referenced in this picture. The first person to DM me a message on any of the platforms or email me or reach out to me through the contact form at ihadtosayitpodcast.com with the correct answer for the 8 other shows that are in this picture will get the print from Mad K Studios. So, I mean, Ken may not want to partake in this, but you can do it for funsies and I'll tell you if you're right or not. But yeah, there's detail stuff. Some of it's a little on the smaller side. You're going to have to look and you're going to have to figure some things out. And you may have to reference some stuff that, shows I have talked. Think about things other people I've mentioned in the past, other shows I've mentioned in the past. They're not all super blatantly obvious. I mean, they're obvious to me because I know what they are. George Fonts already told me that he has 7 of the 8 figured out. He's just stuck on the last one. So he might be in the lead. It's the pinned post on my profile on X. It is the most recent post on my Instagram profile. All of those things can be found if you go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com. The links to Instagram, X, Facebook, all that stuff are there under the links section. So you can go, you can look, you can figure it out. Like I said, some of them are, blatantly obvious. Like it's there if you just open your eyes. A couple of them you're going to have to notice some more detail shit. You're going to have to look at everything in the picture to try and figure out what I'm talking about. So that is, that's kind of all the old business I have. That is all the stuff that I've got spooled up in terms of things I was going to talk about last week that I didn't get a chance to cover because, again, like I said, death in the family is pretty much one of the only things that precludes me from doing this show. I've missed a few episodes over the years where it was because I was sick or I was out of town or my computer crashed or whatever. But something that's going to make me drop off at the last minute like that is either going to be the equipment dying or somebody else dying. And unfortunately, it was the latter of the two this time. So, yeah, that being said, Kickstarter update. We are at 114% of our goal. So, yeah, this is going forward. My background stuff is working. The official Kickstarter launch date for the project, according to what the Kickstarter website says, is targeted to start launching in August. I would like to go a little earlier if at all possible. That remains to be seen, just how the real world reacts to what I'm doing. So we're going to, if you back the project and you signed up and you pledged, expect to receive your reward tier stuff no later than the end of August. The pledge manager will go live. I believe there's 4 or 5 more days left until the Kickstarter wraps up, and then the pledge manager feature thing kicks in, and then that's when the actual donations will be collected. Then the money will be processed and sent to me, and I will have to pay taxes on it, and then I can start this shenanigans get rolling. And like I said, I've been working on the background stuff that I'm going to need to do all of this stuff already. I mean, I'm making my moves and all this other stuff. So now we're just waiting on the money so we can get things off the ground. And thank you to everyone who's pledged or shared the webpage or anything else. If you want to go check it out and you don't know what I'm talking about, it's emberforgespices.com. The website currently links to the Kickstarter. Once Kickstarter wraps up, it will actually continue to link to the Kickstarter for late pledges until the line is ready to launch, because I figure leaving it redirect there gives you the opportunity to pledge late if you want to, because it is accepting late pledges. And if we do that, that's still easier for people to find than going to Kickstarter and searching for it, blah, 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 blah. But once the line is ready to launch commercially, the website will switch over to a Shopify style site where you can order your stuff. And Yeah, that's all I got. That's all the old business, I think. Yeah, nothing else is springing to mind immediately. But yeah, so the big thing that the things I've been thinking about that might actually be relevant to anybody in the world, the thoughts I've been having, is a case of obviously with everything that's going on in the Middle East and the U.S. bombing the shit out of Iran and taking out leader after leader after leader, and honestly something, and I've mentioned this previously, I'm not going to show any remorse or regret about this. I don't feel bad. I mean, I very much was a case of I didn't want to see, no new wars. I was all in favor of that. And for somebody who ran on a platform of saying no new wars, Trump's been, having a lot of military actions. I mean, technically it's not a war. Congress declares war, not the president. It's a strategic military action, blah, blah, blah. All the people that are getting bent out of shape over this shit, but were silent when Obama was doing it, are fucking hypocrites. They make me sick. I hate them all. But on the other hand, you could say that about pretty much anybody who makes a career in Washington, D.C. I think they are all fucking parasitic scumfucks, and I hate them all, and I hope they all have the lives they deserve, basically. Doesn't look like it's going to be happening, just like it doesn't look, as I said, nothing's going to come from the Epstein client shit. And, the elitists, the parasites are continuing to be the elitist parasite class. That's never going to change. But there has been a consequence of the activities in Iran, and I really do hope the Islamist regime stays, I hope it's on its death throes. Like when the Israeli people were rising up, or I'm sorry, not the Israeli, the Iranian people. When the Iranian people were rising up and getting gunned down for protesting in the streets by the Islamist regime, and people were seeing how fucking shitty these things were. Now, it hasn't stopped morons from, still standing out there saying we shouldn't be doing this and we have no rights and blah, 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 blah. All the other leftist narrative, yapping head, orange man bad bullshit that they're spouting about this situation. As I said before, I will never bemoan the death of people who are out there who want me and everyone I've ever cared about in my way of life to be eradicated because they believe their fucking cultist pedophile bullshit is the way, the truth, and the light, and anyone who doesn't submit must be destroyed. Well, fuck those people. Fuck two people that think they're okay, and fuck every fucking bleeding heart liberal retard that's out here supporting those fuck stains. I mean, maybe, fucking livestock and children isn't a deal breaker for those assholes, but it is for me. I'm glad the fuckers are dead. I hope they fucking kill the rest of them. I hope the Persians rise up and take back their fucking country, because people who want to sit there and act like this is, oh my God, it's so out of line that these fucking Islamist invaders are somehow being disposed by the U.S. government. They are not like historically significant to the fucking Persian nation or the Iranian country, or however you want to look at it. They've only been in power fucking 48 years. Their regime started slightly before I was fucking born. So I really don't feel bad that they're being displaced, because I've spent my entire life listening to them chant death to America. So fuck them. I really don't feel bad. Now, a perfectly foreseeable and understandable consequence is the fact that we've had fucking wide open borders for the last previous administration, let in how many millions of unvetted fucking illegals. Yeah, there's terror cells in America. There were terror cells in America before any of this shit happened. There have been sleeper cells in here probably since the 90s at least. There's a lot more than there would have been if we hadn't had two fucking retards that were told to open the borders that subsequently did it and flooded this country with fucking illegals that they're going to try and harvest votes from, which is why they're opposed to the SAVE Act, which will make it required that you be able to prove you're an American citizen to fucking vote in federal elections. Because with safe, secure elections, the Democrats know they will probably never win another fucking election on this fucking planet, because they are worthless sacks of shit that can't win. They've disenfranchised even the fucking poorest of the actual citizens by turning their favoritism and all their free rides over to fucking illegals, because they're planning on buying votes with these fucking worthless shit stains. They get extra representation because these illegals are counted in the census. Not even necessarily that they're voting, but they're giving them more leverage in areas where they are traditionally stronger. So it's a fucking crock of shit, regardless of how you slice it. And for whatever reason, the spineless fucking Republicans and the fucking rhinos in there are preventing this act from being passed, because despite the fact that even including Democratic voters, about 80 or well, between, I've read anywhere from 72 to 83% of the country supports voter ID in this country to actually have secure, valid elections. And all the fucking retards who are out there saying it's racist or it's Jim Crow 2.0 or any other fucking variants of we can't have a voter ID because it's bigoted or prejudiced or whatever. All these racist, biased motherfuckers who think people of color and people of different ethnicities and non-white motherfuckers are too fucking stupid or too fucking poor to go out and get a goddamn ID. And these retards trying to say people don't know where their birth certificates are. Yeah, it's a pathetic, weak wrist. I mean, it is the most spineless, gutless admission to being a worthless sack of shit without coming right out and saying it that I can imagine. And they say it without the slightest hint of irony or self-awareness because they're fucking worthless sacks of fuck. But anyway, that's not the point. I wasn't really intending to go off on the SAVE Act, even though it's everybody who listens to this show on anything resembling a regular basis understands that's exactly how this show goes. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no want of logic or feeling, but it's a case of it just goes where the fucking stream of consciousness takes me. And unfortunately, my brain's in a state where the stream of consciousness is a little unhinged right now. But yeah, so I want to talk about the really fucking, it's going to come back to a theme that I've had in the past, and we're going to talk about it again because it's literally what I think, it's how I feel, it's what we're going to discuss. And that is a case of, and people who are trying to justify these acts and say it's understandable. Well, what did you think was going to happen? And it's talking heads actually on both sides of the aisle, even like the pseudo-libertarian people who are like, oh, well, any intervention in foreign affairs is going to result in these kind of things. And to a certain extent, like I said, I don't want new wars. I don't want new armed conflicts. I don't want us to be the world police. I want to let the world handle their own fucking problems in a lot of ways, shapes, and forms. However, I do believe that removing a regime that is openly hostile to my country and my way of life is a strategically sound move. Now, that being said, there has been a severe uptick in violence being perpetrated here in America. They are literal acts of terrorism being perpetrated by people all of one particular set. You know why? Because they're not screaming out Christ is King before they're doing it. They're not screaming out Baruch Atah or whatever else the funny hat the little funny hat guys wear or say. They're all doing the Aloha snack bar bit before they commit their acts of violence. They had a mass shooting in fucking Texas where the shooter was wearing a sweatshirt that said "Property of Allah" and had an Iranian flag on his t-shirt under the Property of Allah sweatshirt. That was, and again, not actually, like, 'cause there are two Iranian flags too, which is something some people don't seem to realize. There is a Iranian flag that the Iranian people are waving, and then there's an Iranian flag that the fucking regime is waving. And there's a very subtle difference between the two. It's got to do with a little iconography in the middle of it. And the people who, the Persians, the Iranian people, the ones who I actually feel great degrees of sympathy for, who have had their country turned to shit by these fucking goat fucking assholes. I feel their pain, and I feel for them, and I want them to be free. I want them to seize control of their fucking country. They're saying the Shah, the grandson of the last Shah, is going to come back, and he's already said he will be an interim authority. He's not going to be there to return the caliphate to its state. It's not going to be a case of, well, now we're back to having a Shah. We have our Iranian king back. He said he's going to come back to help be a transitional government while they set up an actual legitimate democracy that is going to reflect the will of the fucking people. So now we'll see how that works, because I'm also a firm believer there's nothing as permanent as a temporary government situation in any way, shape, or form. Kind of like, the income tax was supposed to be temporary to pay for World War I, and then it was only supposed to be on the top 1% of the earners in the country. Does that sound familiar to any of you fucking people? I mean, I know my regular listeners understand what I'm saying, but to anybody who might have stumbled onto this, does that sound familiar to you? We're only going to tax the top 1%. That's how they justified the original federal income tax. It's only going to affect the rich people. It's only going to affect the people who aren't hurting. And somehow the government can never get enough of other people's fucking money to offset their fucking voracious spending, and it always trickles down to the fucking rest of us. It's kind of like the fucking retards in New York that elected a commie and then are now saying things on the street like, well, we'll just make it illegal for the millionaires and billionaires to leave because otherwise it's not going to work, because these fucking retards voted in a system that has been proven to fail everywhere it's fucking tried. But again, I'm getting sidetracked from what I was wanted to talk about. I want to talk about the fucking acts of terrorism that are being perpetrated in the United States by the fucking squiggly letter people, by the fucking Islamists, by the fucking. I mean, they're not. I mean, it's the same people who want to say we don't want to paint everyone of a certain faith with a brush or with a broad swath, or else you're a phobe or you're a bigot or you're a racist. And I hate the people who start screaming racism every time somebody starts talking about Islamic terror, because Islam is not a race. It's barely a fucking religion. In my mind, it's more of a cult than a fucking religion. But there's, millions and millions of practitioners all over the world. I think it's actually might be in the billions at this point. But again, doesn't matter. It meets all the criteria, but particularly the ones that require absolute devotion to the cause and forceful conversion of everyone who doesn't believe in it, where you either kill them or fucking, you view them as less than, you view them as subhuman. It's an ideology that is completely incompatible with Western values and Western beliefs. And anyone who tries to tell you differently is a fucking, they're either suffering from suicidal empathy or they are actively participating in trying to see the downfall of a culture or a society in which they are failures. Because I'm a firm believer that's the cause behind a lot of this bullshit, is people that are unable to compete on a equal playing field, people that are unable to perform at a level to achieve the lifestyle they want. So they have to find some way to blame everyone and anything else that isn't them for their fucking problems. It's an accountability issue that I believe leads a lot of fucking weak-minded, weak-souled, weak-spirited people into fucking Islam, because they're. But I misspoke. I apologize. It doesn't lead them into Islam, but it leads them to a sympathy with Islam because, oh well, these must be the good guys because they're being shit upon by all the people that are shitting on me. So it's a case of, like, you get all these fucking white liberal motherfuckers and other liberal motherfuckers that are retarded as well. But like I said, primarily the college educated white kids are the ones I'm really focusing on, because all the retards that are out there saying, well, communism's the real answer. The dumb fucks who voted for Zohan Murdami in fucking New York. These fucking retards who really just want to believe that rather than going out and bettering themselves, they want to bring the rest of the world down to their fucking shitheel level because they can't compete, and they on some level feel bad about it, but they are not willing to do anything to fucking change their situation. They want to change the world to make themselves fucking feel better because they're worthless pieces of shit. So these are the people that are making apologies for the fucking terrorist actions that are being carried out in this country, completely oblivious to the fact that the people they're defending would happily see them fucking dead. It's a really sad case. It's a sad state of affairs. It makes me a little bit nauseous in a lot of ways. But, and that's not even the thing. Like I said, we all knew this was going to happen. We knew there were sleeper cells. We knew there were individuals. We are getting domestically raised fucking people that are engaged, have a history of engaging with ISIS. There was a counter ICE protest in New York outside of Zoran Mandami's house that, the mayor's house, not his personal house, but that there was a bunch of, there was a pro-ICE protest, and there was a counter protest of libtards fucking telling them they needed to get out because you can't tell people they can't be here. And two assholes from out of town showed up and threw pipe bombs at the fucking ICE protest and screamed out Aloha Snack Bar right before they did it, literally jumping over somebody that was there saying they had a right to be there. So people that were accusing the federal government of performing acts of terrorists were actually jeopardized by actual fucking terrorists. Now, fortunately, these were incompetent fucking terrorists because their IEDs didn't fucking detonate, and so nobody actually got hurt, and they were subsequently arrested and subdued and blah, blah, blah. And we've been seeing an uptick in active shooter drills, and not a single one of them has been done, done by Steve or Brad, or in this case, even the trannies are fucking stepping down for the moment. And all the violence is coming out of one set of people. And rather than acknowledging that this is a set of horrific, violent, belief-holding assholes that are more than happy to do violence to you, while you apologize and make excuses for them doing said violence instead of holding them accountable and fucking stepping up and defending your fucking self, the libtards, and more importantly, the fucking media has been absolutely fucking pathetic in the way they're painting these fucking assholes. The way they are underselling, the way they are being so stubborn and so adamant about not referring to it as what it is, which is fucking religious terrorism being perpetrated on the citizens of the United States. Now, whether it's in retaliation for what's being done to the fucking single greatest state funder of terrorism across the fucking globe, or if it's just because they're shitheads that are opportunists and they see this as a good excuse to perform their fucking acts that are inherent to what they actually believe, the values they actually hold, that the people they are attacking are somehow less than them. Any horrific atrocities perpetrated on these people is perfectly acceptable to their belief structure because they're less than, because they're not part of the fucking family. They're not the cult. They're not in the fucking group. So anything that is done to them is perfectly acceptable in their minds. It's right up there with the fucking... when I was talking a few weeks ago about the Somali fraud in Minnesota and how they literally didn't believe they were doing anything wrong because it's just a financial crime. And if you're stupid enough to get ripped off, you deserve to be taken advantage of. So, it's literally a cultural incompatibility that will never be surmounted by any amount of fucking retarded suicidal empathy out of these fucking morons. And then you have media like CNN made a report about the fucking terrorist attack in New York. And they literally did everything they could to coach it as these two assholes who went out with the intention of killing as many people as they possibly could were anything other than just poor kids that fell into, and I don't mean poor as in fiscally poor. I mean just, these poor unfortunate lads went out to just have what started out as just another day where they were going into New York, wound up with them being arrested and charged with terrorism because they threw IEDs into a fucking crowd. And then CNN, basically underreported it, they just shitty circumstances, bad things happened. Oh my gosh. And then in their retraction, they're like, it didn't meet our quality of standards. They didn't admit any wrongdoing or the fact that they were fucking trying to paint two fucking actual domestic terrorists as anything other than fucking terrorists and it's not just them. The fucking silence is deafening when it comes to, they're like, hey, here's these terrorists going on. Sorry, throat's getting a little dry. And they're saying, okay, here's these things and they're happening, but we're not actually going to call it terrorists. We're just going to mention, there was a mass shooting. Are we going to tell you that it was one of those guys with squiggly writing names? No, we're not. We're just going to tell you there was a mass shooting. There was an ROTC shooting, and it was somebody who was in the military. Yeah, guess what? He was also of a certain denomination. I'm not saying it's a case, but pattern recognition is a thing, and it's a shame. It's the way the world rolls, unfortunately. And it's constantly being downplayed by the people who are the source of information for a lot of lazy, retarded motherfuckers who just... Anybody who's still following mainstream media at this point, I assume you're either fucking geriatric or stupid, or a combination of the both. I know... it's unfortunate that that's the state of the world, but... And in a lot of ways, legacy media is a dying beast in and of itself, but it's still where enough people get their information where this kind of shitty, sloppy, intentionally fucking dishonest reporting is tainting a lot of public opinion. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm a huge fan of the fucking Cheeto, but I'm also a huge fan of saying, here, you know what? Yeah, he's doing some things I agree with. He's doing some things I don't agree with. But here's the reality of the matter. What these assholes are doing, regardless of how you try to justify the fucking reasoning behind it, the outcome is they're actively trying to kill American citizens, and subsequently, I have zero sympathy for them. I don't want to hear it painted about how they were out for this, but because, they felt like they didn't fit in. They felt like they were outsiders. They were in contact with ISIS. They are sleeper cell agents. Whether they're domestically raised or not is irrelevant to the fucking matter of their belief structure is telling them to go out and kill people who don't share their fucking beliefs. Sorry, I gotta pause for breath, which does happen occasionally. But at the end of the day, my biggest beef with this entire circumstance is the fucking treatment it is receiving from and then these assholes bitch and bemoan that they're not getting the respect they deserve as journalists, and they're not getting the fucking, nobody's taking them seriously anymore. And it's Elon Musk's fault for, creating platforms where misinformation is spread, because obviously the only truth can be the narrative they're putting forth. And if people can actually get out there and see economic zone, they treat it like, we shouldn't have any sovereignty. There's actually, that's check out. I've said this before too. Go check out George's most recent episode on World Ablaze. It's a good one. You guys need to check that out. I unfortunately didn't get to. I haven't finished it yet. I'm only like 2/3 of the way through it because I was listening to it while I was doing some restaurant stuff, and once other people showed up, I had to take my earbuds out and actually interact with the other people in the building. So. At some point I will get around to finishing the episode, but yeah, as always, good stuff. And as I usually say too, check out Razor Wire. They talked about it here. George was on Razor Wire a couple episodes ago. It was a banger of an episode. It was a great show. You guys should be. Those are two shows you guys should all be following. It's. I can't sing their praises enough because they're fantastic guys who. They do the serious, well researched, well thought out, well engaging stuff. It's a case more of you come to me to hear fairly informed rants and perhaps different ways of looking at things, different ways of saying things, different ways of coaching things. I like to think that that's kind of what I bring to the table. I generally try not to go off in an uninformed manner, but at the end of the day, maybe I look at things a little differently than you do, and maybe that's why you're coming back to hear what I have to say. Maybe you're coming back because you feel like it's fucking, biased justification. Maybe you're coming back because I'm going to say what you want to hear about a subject. And if I'm getting that predictable, I'm sorry. I'll try to be better and keep shaking things up a little bit. I want to be more of a disruptor. I don't necessarily want to be the predictable, like, oh, this is exactly what he's going to believe, and I'm going to this for confirmation bias. I want to hear Aaron say my thoughts coming out of his fucking mouth, because that's not how any of us get any better. That's not how situations go. It's a case of, I'm going to say what's on my mind. I'm going to say the things I think. I'm going to say the things I believe. I'm going to try and make my point in such a manner that you can understand where I'm coming from, even if you don't fucking agree with me, because I feel that's not only my right as a human being, but it's a case of we need more of that. We need to get back to that. We need to be able to understand people are allowed to have opinions that we don't necessarily agree with, and it doesn't mean we have to act like they're the fucking enemy, because at this point in our world and our lives, we have actual fucking enemies, because I don't go around wishing death on you unless you're a pedophile or unless you wish death upon me or people I care about. Those are literally the only two criteria where I think you automatically no mercy, no sympathy, no fucking quarter. If you're a shit human being and you want to enforce your shit ways upon other people against their will, I have no sympathy for you. I have no love for you. We're not going to find common place. We're not going to find middle fucking ground. You're the bad guy. If you think I'm the bad guy for refusing to kowtow to your bullshit, I don't care. If you think I don't want to kowtow to your bullshit and that's going to be my problem, like in the next life or whatever the fuck else you think, and you're still content to let me live to my own downfall, we're okay with that, because I don't bother you, you don't bother me. It's just the way the fucking balance goes. The instant you start saying, if I don't live according to your life, I don't deserve to live, you're the fucking bad guy. You don't have the high ground. I don't care what your fucking little book says. I don't care what your fucking script says. I don't care what fucking internet influencer you decided is going to be your guiding light tells you. And unless, of course, you think I'm going to be your guiding light, in which case, get fucking help. Go find somebody, make a friend, touch some fucking grass, go live in the real world. Don't listen to some asshole on a computer that's telling you how to live your fucking life, you dolts. It's a case of, I mean, yeah, I'm here to vent my spleen, share my thoughts, maybe provide a little guidance. I'm always willing to talk to damn near anybody, unless it's like these people that are reaching out to me because the obvious emails with agendas where it's like, hey, we'd love to come on your show and talk about X, Y, and Z, and we think it'd be a great fit, when they've obviously never listened to a single fucking episode that I have, and they're pulling some AI slop of analysis like, this guy he talks about politics, this guy talks about that, he talks about this, go there, he might actually have fucking an audience that you can sell your schlock to. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you how to live your lives. I'm here to tell you what I think. And if it resonates with you, if it appeals to you, great, so be it. If you can go out and be a slightly better person in this fucking world because of something I said, even better. If we can go out and enrich the world and make the world a better place simply by allowing people to be themselves, I mean, contrary to what a lot of fucking morons seem to think, because I'm not sitting here saying you can be whatever you want to be, because no, the fuck you can't. Reality is still fucking reality. Howsoever, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I think you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want. I don't think that idea spreading and growing and making a fucking comeback is ever going to be a bad thing. And yeah, I think I'm better than a lot of people for a lot of fucking reasons. I'm not trying to act like I'm some fucking saint. I'm not out here trying to better the world for humankind. I would love to see kindness making a fucking comeback. But the problem is things like, make kindness great again and comebacks like that. Things like that have been co-opted by some of the most intolerant, mouth-breathing fucking retards out there. Oh, well, I believe in kindness and love as long as you kindnessly love everything I believe in, because, I don't have any tolerance for anyone who doesn't believe in me, but I'm the loving, kind, and caring one because I have all this empathy for these people who are fucked upon and who have been screwed over by the system and by the man, because all the things that make me feel bad about myself because I'm a fucking self-fulfilled failure is a case of, oh my God, you're not tolerant and loving because you're not elevating me above yourself. So obviously I'm the loving, giving one. And no, you dumb fucking stain. What it is you are a fucking spoiled child who never learned to self-actuate beyond the idea of being a good person means doing things for me and living according to my standards. And if you live according to your own standards and those standards don't hurt anybody and don't make the world a shitty place, you're not actively doing things to make my life better. So you're not nice and you're not a good person, because it's a bunch of childish, selfish fucking retards that somehow get this idea in their head that they have the fucking, they own the fucking property rights to nice or to kindness without actually being nice or kind or good. And I talked about this a while back where, nobody's going to mistake me for fucking nice. That's at the end of the day, I'm not a nice fucking guy. I'm a good person. Believe it or not, I'm actually a kind person. I will go out of my way to help the fucked upon if I can. I will make a point of standing up for the people who can't stand up for them fucking selves. But I don't do it in a performative manner. I don't do it saying, hey, look at me. Look at how pious I fucking am. Look at how I'm helping these shit upon individuals. I don't do it for clicks or likes. I do it because it's the right thing to fucking do. I do it because it makes me feel good about myself as a human being. And I do it for people that I think are fucking worthy of it. And there is a fucking case of, you know what? There is a fine line between people that are in a shitty situation and people who put themselves in a shitty situation. If you're in a situation that's beyond your own fucking control and you have done everything you can and you can't get out of it and I'm in a position to help you, I will help you. But if you put yourself into that shit situation, I try and help you, and you just fucking keep expecting me to do all the heavy lifting. Fuck you. Fuck your parents for raising a failed human being. Fuck your fucking progenitors for spawning a line of weakness and failure that managed to lead ultimately to you. I don't really care about any of this shit. If you are a self-actuating piece of shit, and by self-actuating, now, there's a lot of concepts behind their self-actualization where you understand who you are and you identify with your place in the universe, and you need to have the right mentality to actuate that thing, where you are a case of saying, I am going to do these things. I'm going to manifest what I want from life. I'm going to drive myself through goals and activities and work and focus and drive and hard work and intensity. That's one kind of self-actuation. But when your self-actuation is, I'm the princess, the world needs to accommodate me, I'm the fucking great one, it doesn't, and I'm using, I say princess, but it's actually a case of, I'm using gender non-biased princess here, because I'll call a motherfucking guy princess to his fucking face if I think it applies. And maybe that's another thing where, being a slightly larger guy with a big serving, I don't give a fuck. If you're pissing me off, I'll be like, hey, calm down there, princess, before I fucking slap the bitch out of you, which may or may not have come out of my mouth in the past. It sounds vaguely like an Aaron thing to say. And it's a case of, realistically, be a better person. Don't be a shitbag. It's not a complicated fucking sell at the end of the day. And man, I really got off the route from hating the media for underreporting fucking terrorism, huh? Weird thing. But anyway, yeah, so it's a case of, you know, being a good person shouldn't be a fucking stress. It shouldn't be a case of, like, it's a case of motivation is just as important as actual fucking actions, you know? And it's a complicated thing. It's really, I mean, I feel like this is such a nebulous concept in a lot of fucking ways, because even some of the stuff that I've said in the last fucking 3 or 4 breaths kind of seems to contradict yourself depending on your stance and how you look at things. When I'm telling you, you should go out there and you should help people and you should try to make the world a better place. But the why is more important than the how in some fucking ways. I mean, yes, go out there, help the pissed upon, help the shit upon, help the fucking underfunded, help the people who can't help them fucking selves, help the fucking handicapped, help the disabled, help the fucking stupid. Try and teach the stupid to be fucking better. But you also have to know when to fucking cut it loose. You have to know when to fucking call it a day. You have to know when you're fucking beating your head against the goddamn wall. And some people never learn that fucking lesson. I have friends in my own life who will sit there and go out of their way to tell me that I'm a fucking prick because I reached my limit with somebody. Because I got to the threshold of going, you know what? I tried. It didn't help. You're fucking done. Maybe that's the kind of thing, maybe it's, you know, being a chef. Maybe it's being in positions of management and having to realize at some point you can't save fucking everybody. Maybe it's, you know, things that I've been through in my personal life, some of which came up over the last week, and swapping stories and telling people things about, talking about, maybe I'm reminiscing a lot. I was talking about my past a lot this week, as you know, as one tends to do when, you know, family things happen and people you haven't seen in a long time get together. You start talking about the old days and talking about things that have happened. And maybe it's kind of got me thinking about certain things where it's like, yeah, you know, it's a case of you can only help somebody so fucking much, and if they don't want to be helped, they just want to be supported. You can't really do anything for them. You can't force someone to be fucking better, because it's not genuine and it won't stick. If they don't want to change, if they don't want to do right, if they don't want to be good, they're not gonna. No matter how hard you push, no matter how hard you try and teach them, no matter how much you do to show them the right way, the good way, the true way to do things. And I'm not saying this with any kind of, you know, leaning towards politics or spirituality or faith or anything else. I just mean in general being a decent human fucking being. And, you know, having an ideology that says, I'm not going to force you to live according to my standards as long as you show me that same courtesy. I'm not going to tell you my way is the best, even though I think everything about your faith is fucking stupid. You're welcome to live that way as far as I'm concerned, and right up to the point where you start telling me I'm not, and at which point it becomes a case of fuck you. So there's a definite block, and in a lot of ways, you know, people will say, oh, well, how can you say that and then still say you think this entire group of people is contradictory, or you don't think they have a right to exist? And it's like, well, because their right to exist does not supersede my own. And it goes back to that whole, any ideology that has a tenet that says convert or die is unacceptable to my values and my belief structures. And anyone who expects me to overturn my personal values on behalf of another person's values is either retarded or a hypocrite. That's pretty much it, actually. You are either stupid enough where you think that's an acceptable argument of like, well, your beliefs go against their beliefs and you're not being very considerate by, you know, saying they can't force their beliefs on you, or you either have to be, like I said, retarded or completely disingenuous to believe that. At least the fucking people I'm saying are out there saying they hate me and my way of life, at least they're honest enough to admit it. They're not doing it out of some misplaced sense of empathy where it's like, oh, well, I hate your way of life because it's bad, because you hate my way of life. No, I hate your way of life because you're saying I need to die for not subscribing to it. That's the fucking difference. It shouldn't be such a hard fucking sell to so many people, but for some goddamn reason, we have this culture of suicidal empathy, of people who say, you know what? I don't want to be perceived as not being tolerant. I don't want to be perceived as not being faithful. I don't want to be perceived by other people whose actual interference and involvement in my life is negligible to non-existent. That, you know, well, they might have a negative opinion of me. Who the fuck cares? I mean, these are people who literally want you dead and you're worried about what they think of you. Or you're worried about what the other virtue signaling assholes think of you? People who would see you die to make them feel better about themselves? It's a fucking joke. I don't understand this mentality. I don't understand how we got to this point. I mean, I don't want to be necessarily intolerant, but I also will not tolerate, so I guess technically I'm intolerant. I will not tolerate people who want me dead. There is no explanation in this world that will make that make sense to me. There is no amount of pandering or virtue signaling that's going to tell me, you know what, these people want your way of life ended and you are an asshole for not letting them do it. And it's a case of, I don't know how we got here. I know how we can get away from it. I mean, obviously you guys listen to me, and anybody that's listening to this show for any amount of time listens to me. The people in the chat, the people who come to the live streams, people who interact with the fucking social media stuff. I mean, I know I'm not alone in this. I know I'm not just some crazy asshole screaming into the void. I also know the internet's not the real world, so it's a different situation. But I've said it in the past. And it's always been kind of in jest or in circumstances where, you know, various states of unreality could have been involved, whether it be a few too many cocktails or a few too many other things, as to quote the meme, hits blunt. I've had conversations with people in the past where we've talked about, what would it take to reset things? What would it take to do things? The kind of conversations when you have them on social media, you wind up on a watch list. But I'm already on a watch list, so I've kind of hung up the idea that, I need to curtail what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, there are things that could reset the world. There are things that could make the changes. And I really don't think we have our current leadership, whether you look at how, depending how tight you want to wrap the tinfoil in your fucking cap, whether it's, the global elitists, it's the fucking reptilians, it's the fucking, the people that are living in the fucking Antarctic where all the aliens are, whatever, the social elite, because like it or not, there is definitely a global elite on this planet. There are people who, for whatever reason, gotten themselves into a position of wealth and power that they have proven to be utterly unworthy of, because, other than the fact that they've managed to sustain it and retain it for all of this time, generations through families and bloodlines where they hold. And again, this sounds a conspiracy theorist if you, other than the fact that it's actually the fucking truth. There are people out there whose names you probably have never heard that are, richer than most of the people in the world, that are definitely pulling the strings behind the scenes. The people that buy congressmen and politicians like fucking, they treat them like Pokemon. They got to catch them all, and they battle them against each other. And they're all, at the end of the day, it's all about keeping the fucking plebes in line. And there are things that could be done to do it. It would require a lot of things. And, I've done a lot of thought exercises with various people over the years. And even just going back to, like strategy games when I was a kid, there is always a certain degree of, we could reset this, but it would take X, Y, and Z. I think honestly, we could get leadership in place that would be able to say the things that need to be said and to acknowledge the things that need to be done. But they'd have to be willing to die in the process, because there's no way they're going to get there and not catch a bullet, or not catch poison, or not die of suddenly, or not, have a suicide note show up in the mail 2 days before they fucking die. It's I'm really going off the rails here. But it's a case of, there's so much that could be done to put the world to right if the right people with the right resolve got in the right position. And I despair for the idea that we have gotten to a point where it would take some truly horrific shit to push us to that point. And we've gotten so divided. We've allowed them to drive so many fucking wedges through us. So much insignificant, irrelevant bullshit that when I was a kid or a young adult, I thought this shit was on the ropes. I was more than happy to think racism was on its fucking way out. And then people who stood to lose everything if they didn't have that card to play came back and kept that shit on life support. It's like the joke that goes around. The left keeps racism on life support because without it, they'd have to actually fucking work for a living. You know, when you can't blame all your shortcomings and all your failures on one specific group without any evidence because you're making emotional appeals and emotional ploys saying, oh, well, they hate you because of this. Not they hate you because you're acting like a piece of shit, but they hate you because it was something you have no control over. It's a very realistic stance to say, I hate a lot of fucking people. I hate a lot of people for a lot of fucking reasons. Not a single one of those people that I hate is somebody I hate for something they have no fucking control over, because I have a sane and rational mind, all evidence to the contrary. I believe things are in your control. The things that are in your control are the things I will judge you on. I don't give a fuck what you look like. I don't give a fuck, you know, what you necessarily were raised to believe, as long as you don't use your upbringing as an excuse for treating other people like shit. I don't believe that there's anything you were forced upon to fucking be judged by. Again, and it comes down to stupid things. You know, if you're short, if you're tall, if you're a particular degree of melanin in your fucking body, I don't care. You don't have any control over any of that shit. You have control over taking responsibility for things in your life. You have control over how you treat other people. You have control over how you react to adversity in your fucking life. You have control over whether or not you want to take advantage of other people. You have control, and I mean, yeah, some of that may, well, people will say, oh, well, if they were raised to not know that's fucking wrong. In a lot of these situations, like, for example, people are saying, well, you can't hold these guys that are illegals here in this country accountable because they haven't acclimated to Western values yet, so they don't know you can't go around raping people. If they're actively taking steps to prevent people finding out they're doing it, or to prevent their identity from being found because they are understanding that there are consequences for committing these acts, you can't convince me they didn't know it was wrong. They know it's not acceptable, but they don't care because their drive to go out and rape somebody is more imperative than following the societal norms of the place in which they exist. They made a choice. That's the end of it. If they thought it was perfectly acceptable to be doing the shit they were doing, they wouldn't be trying to get away with it by threatening people with violence and death for revealing their names and their identities. They wouldn't be saying that, you know, we have to fight and convert you all because you don't live according to my values, because they know they're in a place where that's not acceptable, but they're doing it fucking anyway because they have no impulse control. They have no self-restraint. They have no need to live according to the standards of where they are. They have no needs to treat other people as if they have worth or value. These are choices. They're not, it's not something beyond the realm of control because of your upbringing or any goddamn thing else. When you decide you can treat someone as less than yourself, you're making a choice. You're saying that I have value, you fucking don't. So I have no sympathy. I have no empathy for people like that. I have no empathy or sympathy for people who take advantage of the people that are in positions of being taken advantage of. I hate fucking scammers. I hate people who take advantage of the elderly and the fucking stupid, and they justify it because, well, if you were dumb enough to fall for it, I should have your money. That's how my culture views things. That's why there are entire countries whose GDP comes from ripping off United States citizens, because there are stupid and gullible people every fucking where, and we have more than they do, so they don't see an issue with taking it from us through deceptive means. That's a choice. It's not a culture. You can say, well, in our culture, it's acceptable to rip people off if they're dumb enough to get ripped off. Yeah, but if you're actively targeting people who don't believe that. It's a case of, again, it's a choice. It's not a thing beyond your control. It's not an inalienable characteristic. It's not something that you had no say in your life. You made a fucking choice. And I don't care for that at all. Well, let's see, a little more chatter in there. Oh, George is grilling while he's watching me. That's kind of in chefception there, Except for I'm not cooking. I'm venting my spleen. Let's see what else. Steve of Razor Wire is in the chat as well. Hey, Steve. He says, left doesn't have a plan. Right refuses to enact a plan. It's all based on keeping us fucked. Very true. Although I think it's actually a little more that's not that the right refuses to enact a plan, and it's not. I think the left does have a plan. The left's plan is exactly what's going on right now, and I think the right is complicit in it because at the end of the day, left and right, same bird. Left wing, right wing, same turkey. The plan is all of them versus us. It's not a case of our party versus your party. It's we keep these assholes fighting each other, and meanwhile we go to the same clubs, we hang out at the same shows, we go to the same entertainment, we live in the same town, we work in the same buildings, we are around each other all the fucking time. It's a case of we keep these idiots fighting each other. We tell one side that they're the right side, the biased side, and we point our pious, righteous assholes at your pious, righteous assholes. And everybody caught in the middle is just kind of trying to live their day-to-day lives. People who are going out trying to pay their bills, trying to do the best they can, trying to make sure their families are taken care of, their immediate needs are met. And when you're struggling 24/7 to maintain your value, your life, and your quality of life and take care of the things you got to do to fucking live, you can't really pay too much attention to the fucking assholes that are stirring it up. It's like when you put the red ants and the black ants in a jar and you leave the jar there and they just kind of exist until somebody picks up and shakes the jar, and then they all start blaming each other and start attacking each other. The ants aren't looking at the fucking hand that shook the jar. They're looking at the other fucking ants that they don't identify with. That's kind of the best of analogy I can think of for the current state of the American government and the American people. You got a bunch of fucking self-righteous, self-important retards on both sides of the fucking aisle who can't focus on the things they have in common, who can't focus on all the things that make us human, the things that make us the same. They're too busy focusing on these petty, worthless, little, stupid fucking things that they've been told they have to identify with, that they've been told is the key to their fucking individuality and their freedom and their happiness. And so it's, shake the fucking jar and watch the ants fight. It's very frustrating to me. It's a sad state of affairs in a lot of ways. I hate that this is the world we live in. This timeline fucking sucks donkey balls. And speaking of donkey balls, let's get to the recipe of the week. And again, I've actually, like I said, with the new setup, I can actually watch the chat a little bit better. I have to keep in mind that there is a bit of a lag. So I'm going to open up to the chat. Is there anything you guys want to hear my thoughts on that I may or may not have? Because, like I said, I've had a lot going on in the last week that I have not been paying attention to the world around me. So I may not know what the fuck you're talking about if you want. But if you want to throw something in the chat, that'd be great. And I will actually get the recipe of the week started. This is something I like. It's a snacky kind of thing. And it's a good recipe to have. And I will try and this week get the webpage updated because I've been lacking in that for several weeks. I've got a backlog of recipes I need to update on the recipe page. But based on the traffic stats from the analytics on the page, nobody's looking anyway. So I'm still going to do it, though. I said I would, and I'm a man of my word. I may not be the best on timing, but I keep my fucking word when I give it. So I will get that page updated hopefully sometime this week. Depends on how the rest of the shit pans out. I'm kind of committed for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the next couple of weeks, and we'll see what else comes up in the interim. So, yeah, anyway. If anybody has anything they want to ask me, now is the time to do so in the chat, and I'm going to start reading the recipe. I keep blocking the camera when I try to read stuff. I keep forgetting I lowered it because of the new setup. So anyway, this week we are going to do a Italian dish. It's one of those things I don't remember how the first time I had it. I was a kid, but it's eggplant caponata or eggplant salad, eggplant appetizer, depending on where you go. Different restaurants have different names for it. It's all basically the same fucking thing, and it's something I like. I like to make it. I like to make a little garlic crostinis out of French bread, and then toast them with olive oil and some fresh shredded Parmesan cheese on the top, and you toast them off, and so they get all crispy. And then you put the eggplant caponata on them, and they're crunchy and delicious. And so anyway, we're gonna go into this recipe now. So this is to make like basically enough for like 2 people. You're gonna take 1 large eggplant, 1/2 cup of olive oil, 2.5 cups of chopped red onion, 1 cup of chopped celery, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1/2 cup of ripe olives, black olives. I mean, you can use green olives if you want to. When I say ripe olives, that means black olives, because that's just the way my writing works. 2 tablespoons of capers, 1 pint of plum tomatoes. Now, if you're going to get the canned plum tomatoes, it's the big can at the grocery store. This again, so a lot of these recipes you got to remember are written to be used out of commercial volumes and things. So we're talking like a number 10 or 6-pound can of tomatoes. You take 1 pint out of that, but the big can will work. So anyway, 1 pint of plum tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of honey, 1.5 teaspoons of fresh oregano, and 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to dice up your eggplant, and you are going to take the kosher salt and toss it with the eggplant and mix it up so it's thoroughly coated. And then you're going to put it on like a cake rack or a grated pan to dry out. You're going to let it sit for about a half an hour. You want to draw some of the moisture out of the eggplant, and then you're going to take it. You're going to run it under some like cold water, cool water, to just to rinse off the excess salt, and then you're going to pat it dry with some paper towels or a clean lint-free towel, and you're going to set it off to the side. Now, in a thick-bottomed pan, you are going to heat the olive oil. I use a Dutch oven when I do it, but you could use a stock pot too if you don't have a Dutch oven. But if you don't have a Dutch oven, you need to step your game up. You don't know what you're missing. But anyway, so take the Dutch oven, you put it over medium heat, and you heat up your olive oil till it starts to smoke a little bit. You saute your onions and celery for 7 to 10 minutes until they're softened. Then at that point, you're going to stir in your eggplant, and you're going to saute it for about another 10 to 12 minutes until it starts to get that lightly browned caramelizing on the outside, stirring it occasionally. At that point, you're going to add the remaining ingredients, and you're going to simmer it covered over a low heat for 25-30 minutes. Until it's going to kind of break down and get kind of soupy. And then you're going to remove it from the heat. You're going to allow it to cool. You want to let it cool down pretty significantly. And then you want to refrigerate it so it's nice and chilled. And then you can use it as a topping. You can put it on your crostinis, like I said, or you can toss it with fresh pasta or... basically, it's good by itself, but like I said, you kind of need a delivery system for it, though, and that's eggplant caponata, eggplant appetizer, whatever you want to call it. It's delicious. Now, let's see some comments in the chat. Steve has pointed out Cuba achieved net zero today, which is true. Their power grid has completely collapsed. It's a case of, like I said, communism eventually always runs out to there's no power. And yeah, Cuba is a case of, they've achieved net zero. The Cuban officials have been talking about wanting to work with the United States, wanting to, possibly become a state. I've heard rumblings of. I don't know how true that is. Again, I've been kind of out of the loop these last few days. But yeah, I have heard Cuba's fallen. Cuba has entered into friendly negotiations with the U.S. Are they going to become a state? I doubt it. Are they going to become a commonwealth or a territory? Possible, but who knows? Maybe just reopening trade with the United States and not being a commie shithole will actually turn them around back to what they were back before Castro came along and fucked the place up. And, and Steve said, give it a year or so, maybe do a listener meetup in Cuba. Brother, I am down. I will, I'm sure I'll have to clear it with the wife. She's in the chat. She could say no right now, and then I'll have to figure out a way to sneak off to Cuba. And George has replied, yeah, he's been thinking about Cuba all day. Great meetup. We could have cigars and great rum. I don't really drink rum. I love cigars. I'll burn some with you guys, but and I'll try the rum. I'll see if I can deal with that. I'm just not a rum drinker per se. Bad experience as a teenager, and it just kind of turned me off of it pretty much forever. Although I do like black rum. I can't drink white rum. I can't drink any of the fucking flavored rums. I just instantly gag reflex. But but a good black rum, yeah, that I'll drink. I'll drink some Kraken or some Black Seal. But that's about it for me though. I don't know about that. Maybe some mojitos. But I'll try anything in the spirit of being on the island there. But yeah, so I'm going to just a couple of minutes of stalling here for chat. Again, I need promos. George, get me a promo for World of Blaze so I can play it during these pause things. I know I said I was going to play the promos while I was getting ready to read the thing, but I already read the thing, so I don't remember who we played last week. So I'm just going to close my eyes and hit a button.
Tired of watered-down takes and safe comedy? Step inside the Boomer Bunker, where John Jamingo and the Duchess blow the doors off the news, sports, and pop culture with raw opinions, sharp humor, and zero apologies. From political chaos to viral nonsense, no topic is off limits, and no feelings are spared. Join Jamingo and the Duchess, Monday and Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. All show links can be found at boomerbunker.com. So grab a drink, strap in, and become a bunker dweller.
All right, I believe that was an ad. I think I hit Boomer Bunker on that one. I think I saw the light go out of my eye. All right, so let's see. George says, "Great show, Aaron. Go eat dinner." Yeah, go eat, enjoy your dinner, brother. Have a good one. We'll have to chat one of these days soon. Let's see. I believe that's Bill saying 151 will pick a kid up. Yeah, that's 151 something else. So anyway, if nobody else has anything to contribute to the chat, and again, I'm going to have to wait a minute or so for the lag here. I think I'm probably going to put a pin in it. I mean, I've been going for a little over an hour here, so that should be, a fill for some people. Oddly enough, the X restream says I've only been going for 35 minutes, or it stopped, one of the two. I can't tell because the countdown's actually going backwards now. So I wonder if that stopped streaming somehow. I don't know. I never get any feedback on the X. Nobody ever chats in there or anything. I'm never even sure it's working. I hope it is. I mean, I only get to stream to two platforms with the free version of this restream, so I picked X because I figured that's where I have the most social media presence. So I hope it's working. I hope some people are occasionally seeing it. Yeah, Bill, I wasn't going to bust your stones too much, but I kind of figured it was a typo. Ken's been painting, which is awesome. Like I said, Mad K Studios, go check them out. Go do the thing with the pinned post on my X account, or else my most recent Instagram post. Literally the only reel I've ever made is an Instagram reel telling you go check out the post to go find out why I'm giving shit away. So yeah, go do the thing. Figure out the shows. Figure out the things that are named in the picture. Ask me questions about anything you might ask about why my war room looks the way it does. There are some other things in there that are completely unrelated to the scavenger hunt that I'm doing. So yeah, you could ask questions about that stuff too. And then yeah, like I said, Bill, I don't think it's. I see that you said you were over there, but I don't think it's just that, because, like I said, it looks like it cut off at 35 minutes for some reason, which is weird. Because I do have X open on one of my tabs. That is, but. Yes, and the print that I will be giving away is one of 20. It's a limited run print, and it's got Ken's autograph on it and everything. Yeah, this says 37 minutes. I guess it's not live anymore for some reason. Yeah, no, the live icon's gone too. So it stopped streaming to X after 35 minutes. I don't know. Did I say something that pissed them off and they kicked me off? Who knows? I'll have to go back and see what the last thing it says before it cut off was. But yeah, we'll do another shout out to, I guess we'll say, if you're looking for some good candles, go to barenakedhandcraftedcandles.com and get a couple of candles for your loved one for the, anywhere you want something to smell good. They are hand poured to order. So it's not something that's been sitting on a shelf getting stale. You're going to get something that is made when you ask it. So it's going to have the most potent smells for as long as humanly fucking possible. And that is something you can go check out. So yeah, it's a case of, go do the things, go click the links. You can go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com. There is a link to Bare Naked Handcrafted Candles and all the other fine shows and other fine businesses I have talked about over the years of doing the show. You can find a link for Clockum Craft Coffee. That's right, COLOCKUMCRAFT.COFFEE, to get some of the finest coffee you can find on the internet today, roasted to order by Bill and Dana. It is a fabulous cup of coffee. It is a wonderful thing, and I am not being paid to say that. That is a completely uncompensated plug, so you know it's legitimate. You know I believe that shit because I'm saying it from the depths of my heart and refusal to take Bill's fucking money. Ha 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 ha! So, yeah, anyway, if nobody else has anything else to say on that one, I think that's probably where we're going to put a pin in it so I can go find out what I said that got X to kick me off of the fucking live stream. And I'm going to say for now, that's what I had to say.